Family, 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 how long have I been telling you guys? Since I've been on YouTube for the last 10 years, I've been telling people this. People thought I was crazy when I told them that black people do not have a friend in this fight. We don't have any allies. We don't have any friends. And I keep on trying to tell black people this. That's why I told them all we have is us. So let's love on us. Let's come together. Let's unify because all we have is us. All other groups are against us because they don't want us to have anything. And a lot of them have fallen in love with our oppressor. They respect our oppressor and they wish to have a relationship with our oppressor. So that automatically make everybody else an open enemy to us. Simple as that. But I want to speak on this diaspora wars that's going on. I see that people do not like foundational black Americans and they sure don't like the FBA. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to explain something to you. They know that we are the richest group of black people on the planet. They know that we have the most influence. They know that we are the ish. They know that we are the most influential black people on the planet. Sports, fashion, music, all of that. The whole shebang. Okay? And the only talking point they have against us is a very talking point that they don't want to give up because they know that once they give up that talking point, they don't have nothing else. And their favorite talking point against foundational black Americans is you don't have a culture. But I find that funny that when we say, okay, then since you say we don't have a culture, we're going to create a culture. And in the midst of trying to create that culture, you're trying to discourage us because you know that once we establish that culture, which is the FBA culture, once we establish a culture, then you can no longer use that talking point against us. You can no longer say you don't have a culture. And you know this. And this is the reason why you're trying to do everything that you can do to try to discourage black people from breaking off into their own group. And the funny part about it is everybody in Africa is in their own group. When you go to Africa, they have different tribes. When you go to Africa, they have different groups. They are separated. Those people are not united at all. Okay? At all. Matter of fact, Africa is the most ununited continent in the world. These are facts. There's hundreds of borders. There's hundreds of separations. But when we want to break off into our little group, because we see everybody has already separated themselves and broken themselves off into their own little group. So we say, okay, we're going to do the same thing. What's the problem when we want to do everything everybody has already done? You guys have already separated yourself by tribe, by countrymen. You have already done that. Africa is divided. The white man divided Africa and it's been divided ever since then. But you want to get upset with us when we was the only one that was speaking about the diaspora of everybody coming together from the four corners of the earth, all black people under one umbrella. You guys didn't want that. You thought we was crazy. And the Africans don't like it. And let's be truthful, the Africans don't even like that idea. That's why they say, who is my brother? You say that you're my brother. We from two different places. How are you my brother? What are you talking about everybody in the diaspora? From the four corners of the earth, all black people. We're not all black people. I'm African, you black. So remember, foundational black Americans was the ones that was trying to unite all the black people on the planet. We tried to do that. You didn't try to do that. You guys wanted to be separate. You Africans wanted to be separate. You Jamaicans wanted to be separate. You Dominicans wanted to be separate. You Haitians wanted to be separate. You Brazilians wanted to be separate. So now that we agreeing with you, and now we're saying, okay, then we see what it is. Nobody want to come together. Okay, well, let's go over here and do our thing since everybody else already doing their thing. They don't want to do this black global unity thing. So, hey, we're just going to go ahead and do our thing and mind our own damn business. Now, suddenly everybody mad and they say that we divisive. You guys divided yourself a long time ago. You guys were being divisive. Black people were the ones talking about bringing everybody around the world together. But you guys didn't want that. So now we saying, okay, then we agree with you. And now you're upset. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. But all you want to say is that we don't have a culture. You want to continue saying that, saying that, and saying that. And then we go out to create our own culture. And then we tell you what our culture is. And once we start establishing the foundations of our separated culture, now you're upset. It doesn't make sense. You would think that you would be happy about the situation. We would think that you would say, okay, then now they're finally establishing their own culture. Okay, we can respect that now. You guys are now creating your own culture. But no, you don't want to do that because you don't want to give up your talking point. I know exactly what it is. I can point it out. You don't want to give up the talking point. The Africans do not want to give up the talking points, family. That's what it is. They love that talking point because it's the only zinger they got. We can be destroying them in every conversation, in every debate. But when we try to establish a culture and say, okay, then we're going to call this new culture FBA. Since you say that we ain't got a culture, we just created one. It's called FBA. And now they're upset because you know what that's going to do? And you know why? Because they know it's going to take their talking point away. They can no longer can say you don't have a culture. And once they're no longer able to say you don't have a culture, they have no more weapons against us. And that's why they don't want to concede to our culture, because the minute they concede to our culture, their talking point goes out of the window.